Hope your first week is going well with school. Today we're going to dive into some linear equations and solving those. Some of it might be reviews, some of it might be some new stuff though. So make sure you are trying your best to understand this concept. If you have any questions over anything so far, feel free to ask myself or Miss Sanders for help. We will do our best to make sure we can help you with any questions or concerns that you may have. With that being said, we're going to jump right into what we're doing today. So today, by the end of this, you should be able to explain each step in solving a linear equation and create and solve linear equations with one variable using the properties of equality. So here are some examples of linear equations. The first one is x plus 8 equals 52. So when I solve linear equations, what I like to do is I draw a line where the equal sign is. Because whatever you do to the left side of that line, you're also going to have to do to the right side of that line. So this first example, I want to get rid of the plus 8. So I have to do the opposite operation to get rid of it. So in order to get rid of plus 8 and get the x by itself, because I'm solving for x, I would subtract 8. So I get x equals 44. Now the nice thing about linear equations is hopefully, ideally, you would never miss one because you can always plug it in for the x in the original equation and check it. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write 44 plus 8 equals 52. So now I would add 44 and 8 because they're on the same side of the equation. I could combine those. And I get 52 equals 52. And that's what I'm after. So ideally, you should never ever miss these problems because you can check to see if your answer is even correct. So the next one, I have 8 minus x equals 17. So if I want to get the x by itself, a lot of people like to subtract the 8 first because right there we're adding 8. If there's not a sign, it's a positive, right? So I'm going to subtract it. So now I have negative x equals 9. Now the thing about solving linear equations is you want it to be a positive x equals something. Well, what does that negative on the outside of the x means? Well, that means I am multiplying by negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite that problem into a multiplication problem. Now, how do you get rid of multiplication? Well, you would do the opposite operation, which is division. So I'm going to divide by negative 1 and get x equals negative 9. Again, I can plug it in to my equation and check it. So 8 minus negative 9 equals 17. So what I would like for you to do from here is I would like for you to pause the video. If it's on Edpuzzle, I will pause it for you and try and solve the next two problems. So I want you to try and solve numbers 3 and 4. If you pause the video, I will go ahead and work out number 3. So I'm going to draw my line. Whatever I do to the left side, I got to do to the right. So in this case, if it says 5x, that means I'm multiplying the x by 5. So to get rid of the 5, I need to divide by 5. I get x equals 21. So if you pause it and you tried it, hopefully you got x equals 21. Now the next problem, if you need some time, you can go ahead and pause it again. A fraction means division. So in this case, I'm dividing by 3. What's the opposite of division? That would be multiplication, so I want to multiply both sides by 3. When you do that, these cancel each other out, so I have x equals 5 times 3 would be 15. And again, you can plug it in and check it. Some people can kind of just see the problems when they're this simple. If I do 15 divided by 3, I know that that's 5, so 5 equals 5. So it works out. The properties of equality. essentially the properties of equality are what we just did. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side to make it the same equation. So, example, if I had x plus 2 equals 5. If I subtract 2 from the left side, I also have to do that to the right side. That's called the subtraction property of equality. And it works for all of those. So what we just did in those last 4 problems, we used the property of equality to solve it. All right, and that's really all I'm going to spend on that because that's how the properties work. So now we're going to get into some tougher problems. So this first one, x plus 4 minus 3 equals 6 times 2. You're sitting there going, well, there's not just one number and one letter. Instead, now I got multiple numbers on the same side. So if I draw my line where my equal sign is, and I have 2 numbers on the same side, so right here I got a positive 4 and a negative 3, I'm going to combine those. It's called combining like terms. So positive 4 minus 3 would be a positive 1. So I'm going to rewrite that left-hand side. I can also do it for the right-hand side. There's 2 numbers there. I'm multiplying. What's 6 times 2? Well, that is 12. Now it turns into the problem that we just did. How can I solve this? Well, I want to subtract 1, and I get x equals 11. So when you combine like terms, like we did here, all right, you're not doing it to the other side of the equation as well. You're just doing it to just that side. But whenever I subtracted the 1, because I was getting rid of it on the left-hand side, I also have to get rid of it on the right-hand side. The next problem, negative 4 divided by 5x equals 72. There's a couple different ways to solve this, and I'm going to show you both ways. So if I see a fraction, I should be thinking division, right? However, this is right next to the x, so I'm multiplying. So what's the opposite of multiplying? Well, I can just divide both sides by that fraction. So you can type that into your calculator, and you should get negative 90. That's kind of the fast version of that. However, another way to rewrite this is because I'm multiplying, I can rewrite it as negative 4x divided by 5. When you multiply the top, and the bottom stays the same. So now I'm taking negative 4x and I'm dividing by 5. So the first step would be to multiply by 5. So I got negative 4x equals 360. Now I have negative 4x equals 360. I'm going to divide by negative 4 to get my negative 90. Again, I want you to go ahead and try these next 2 problems. So I want you to try this one and this one, the ones that are underlined in red. So if you need to pause the video, you can. If it's on Edpuzzle, I will pause it for you and try and solve it. So the first one, I'm going to write out 3x minus 1 equals 8. Draw my line where my equal sign is. The first thing I want to do is I want to try and get this 3x by itself. So I'm going to add 1. So I get 3x equals 9. So then, I'm still trying to get the x by itself. If it's right next to the x, that means multiplication. So I'm going to divide now. So I get x equals 3. Now, can you check it? Of course. I can plug it back into the original problem. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write 3. So I would do 3 times 3 minus 1 equals 8. That's 9 minus 1 equals 8, which is 8 equals 8. So it works out. All right. The next one, if you need to pause the video, you can. I'm going to draw my line where the equal sign is. I would subtract 13 first because this is the x term. Trying to get it by itself. I get x divided by 2 equals 7. Now, a fraction is division. Hence I said divided by 2, so I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. I got x equals 14. All right? And again, you can check those answers anytime you want. I would especially do this on a quiz or a test just to make sure I got it right. And lastly, we're going to try a little bit harder. So this first problem, if you know this, the left-hand side has 8x and negative 3x. Well, they both have an x in them, a single x, so I'm going to combine them. We're going to combine like terms. So this is going to become 5x because 8 minus 3 is 5, and I still have that x there. Now how would you solve it? This is like what we did in the very beginning. I would divide by 5 and get x equals 2. All right. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do this problem that's underlined in purple. Go ahead and try that one. Draw my equal sign line. If it's on the same side and they're the same term, I can combine them. So x and 5x I should be able to combine to make 6x. Now it turns into those problems that we've been doing. I would add 5 because I want to get 6x by itself. And then I would divide by 6. So hopefully if you try this one by yourself, you should have got x equals 1. All right, almost done. Get to a little bit harder ones. Now, right here in this problem, we are using the distributive property. What that means is I'm going to distribute this 3 to the x and then negative 2. So that 3 is going to be multiplied by everything inside the parentheses. So I would have 3x minus 6 equals 18. So that 3 again is going to be multiplied by everything inside the parentheses. Now it turns into those problems we've been doing. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And then I'm going to divide by 3 to get my answer. And last problem, I really want you to pause and try it by yourself. We're going to combine everything we've done so far. If you have to multiply or distribute, you should do that first. That's your hint. So on this one, I'm going to take that negative 2 and distribute it. So I have 22x minus 6x minus 10 equals 86. So that would be your first step. Next step, I'm going to combine like terms if I can. On this one, 22x and negative 6x can be combined. So I have 16x minus 10 equals 86. Now we're going to go to our properties of equality. Whatever we do to one side, we got to do to the other. So if I want to get rid of this negative 10, I need to add 10. And lastly, I'm going to divide by 16. Get x equals 6. All right, so that wraps up the lesson for today. If you guys have any questions, again, please let us know. We don't know what's wrong if you don't ask. And again, it can be Miss Sanders or myself. Make sure you guys are staying up to speed on the videos. Make sure you're getting your Pearson homework done. And we'll see you guys soon. Have a good day.